Rebecca Dow, would you please take 1 minute or less to introduce yourself and tell us why you'd like to be governor?
Well, my name's Rebecca Dow. I'm a daughter of an oil field worker who became a preacher, and that brought us to Truth or Consequences when I was 10. During my sophomore year of college at Oral Roberts University, I moved back to TRC, where my husband and I have a business. That business enabled me to do what I'm passionate about, community-based services. So I opened a series of faith-based organizations that serve vulnerable populations and enable them to leave multi-generation poverty and move into self-sufficiency. And so I want to run for governor because I've been serving my community for 2 decades. I've been in the House for 6 years, and bad government is in the way. Whether it's people being encouraged to stay on government dependency right now, if you are a single mom with a child, you can make as much as $50 an hour staying unemployed. Or whether it's the regulatory environment that makes it hard to open a business and grow a business. And so I'm running because I believe in the American dream. It's worth fighting for. Our beautiful, divinely inspired constitutional republic is worth fighting for, and our individual states' rights are worth fighting for. Thank you.
Thank you. New Mexico is unfortunately ranked last nationally in too many categories. What is your plan to turn the state around and make New Mexicans proud?
Well, it's a very simple principle of more freedom and less government. And what I can do as the governor is look at the executive orders as well as the rules and regulations and quickly address those. Through the folks that I get to appoint, the boards and commissions, we can address rules and regs and executive orders. And then I'm ranked as the 85th percentile of effective legislators in the state right now. And that is because I work across the aisle. And so we've got to do the hard work of getting statutory reform, and that requires collaboration between the House and the Senate. And whether we have the majority or the minority or not, we've got to have someone in office who is able to work across the aisle and get stuff done. Even during this session, the 30-day session, while I am the governor's opponent, she signed 2 of my bills into law. One was a regulatory reform that allows for reciprocity if people move into our state, and the other one was aid for small businesses that have been hurt during COVID. So I get stuff done, even when I am a fighter of truth and justice, because I work collaboratively with my colleagues in the House and the Senate.
Thank you. This is 1 minute. As governor, what qualities are you looking for in your cabinet members?
Well, I'm looking for folks who share my worldview, and I'm looking for folks who have a passion and a commitment to preserve and protect the American dream. People who believe that hard work will pay off, and that risk, when you have a risk, you get the reward. So I'm looking for folks, not lifetime bureaucrats, but people who will put New Mexicans first, and a bigger picture than that, what it means to be a Western state in a republic where individual states' rights matter. I'm looking for people who share my belief in individual responsibility. I believe the governor is the most important person in the state, and their job is to give the power back to the people. So I want to surround myself with folks who have a record of creating jobs, serving in their community, being solutions-driven, people who have a heart towards servant leadership and believe in New Mexico and have a desire to see hope and healing, unity, and folks who are going to grow our party and unite our party so that long after my term, we keep this state red.
Thank you. Crime and safety have become a top concern for most New Mexicans. Tell us what you would do to make New Mexico safer.
Well, I think it starts with securing the border. And what's happening at the border has got to stop. Not just because we have folks coming across who do not understand our constitutional republic and our rule of law, but because of what's coming across the criminal element, where we're looking at the human trafficking. What's happening is it's really bad, and people's personal property is being harmed. Their businesses are being harmed, and fentanyl is coming across at rates. There's probably no one in this room that isn't touched by someone in their family having substance or an overdose or abuse. And so we have got to secure the border. Our law enforcement needs to be supported. We support them. We do not defund them. We've got to look at corrections, probation, and parole. If we can beef up probation and parole, we can give people that are trying to do right and have some hard times, get them back into productive in society, that we can keep the people who are violent criminals in jail. But I also believe in early and immediate intervention. For 22 years, I've been doing emergency placement with CYFD. Not only do we need to address substance use and mental health issues, but we have got to reform, if not abolish, CYFD. They are failing our children. 60% of abuse in New Mexico is happening before the age of 6 at a time of critical child growth and development. These traumatic events are changing who these children are forever. They're struggling in school. They're often dropping out. CYFD also is responsible for juveniles and juveniles are learning that crime pays. They can break into your house, steal things from your home. There's absolutely no consequences. And so I want to work with CYFD to create accountability and reforms. And if we can't do that, we've got to find a different structure, even if that means a board that appoints a person who's permanent, not appointed by the governor, because the governor's agenda is wrong, and we've got to do a course correction for our children. That's the long, hard work that needs to be done, and I'm ready to take that on and equipped with the knowledge and ability to do so.
Thank you. 2 minutes. Tell us what policies you would support regarding energy production in our state to assure reliability for all New Mexicans.
Well, it's absolutely a crime that we have a self-imposed energy crisis in an energy-rich state. And so I will continue to support the policies that I have been supporting as your House representative. And that includes opening up Escalante. We spent $50 million in taxpayer dollars to retrofit Escalante. It's one of the cleanest power plants in the United States, and we closed it down. Now we're looking at closing San Juan. And a bleed, this is a Band-Aid on a bleed to keep it open until September, just to get us past this summer when we would have brown outages in a state that is rich with natural resources. We tried to add, I'm talking about the Republicans, we tried to add natural gas to our clean fuel, to our portfolio, and that was defeated. And we have faceless bureaucrats that have been appointed by the governor that are doing harm to our oil and gas. So I think we need to correct the flawed methane rules. We need to look at what the Environment Department and the Natural Energy, Minerals, and Natural Resources Department has done through rules and regulations, give them ease in the regulatory process and licensure and fee process. You know, we've got issues even with produced water. 1 barrel of gas, of oil, has 8 barrels of produced water, and they're having a hard time getting permits to dispose of that produced water. So up and down the board, what I would be doing is looking for people on boards and commissions, and these faceless bureaucrats that the governor has placed in are paybacks with extreme environmentalists and a lot of times lawyers that are making millions off of doing harm to our state. But instead, put people in those positions that will set New Mexico's energy potential free, and that would include nuclear energy as well.
Thank you. Now we're going to do the lightning round. We'd like one-word answers, either support or oppose. Do you support or oppose New Mexico tax dollars being used for a guaranteed basic income?
Oppose.
Do you support or oppose requiring a picture ID in order to vote?
Support.
Do you support or oppose the governor's ability to indefinitely extend emergency health orders without legislative approval?
Can I just say oppose 10 times?
And let's see, do you support or oppose a work requirement for able-bodied New Mexicans receiving public assistance?
Support, but let me clarify. They could also do community service. So I think they could serve in a local community-based organization or work, but they should not be entitled to it without contributing.
Thank you. And your final answer, or question, sorry, for 1 minute, what is the single most important skill that you offer that makes you the best candidate for governor?
You know, all the work that I've done has been leading without power. And whether that is influencing folks who think their only option is to be on government dependency to move into self-sufficiency, and sometimes that means going back to college or getting a high school diploma or getting into a trade or certification when it's easier to stay on dependency, that's leading without power. I work in early childhood. Getting 2-year-olds to say yes instead of no, that's leading without power. And serving in the House of Representatives when you're outnumbered 2-1 and getting bills passed and getting reforms done and representing your constituents throughout the year, that's leading without power. And I've done this. I'm battle-proven in the world of ugly politics in New Mexico, and I am still just as happy to volunteer and serve the state as I ever have been. And so I think that the difference is that I have a servant's heart and I believe in servant leadership.
Thank you. The hiring committee, the New Mexico voters, will let you know on June 7th if you have been selected to proceed to the next round of the hiring process.
Thank you guys for coming out. It's a lot of fun.